Hello world. Hopefully people are there and they can see us and hear us. Well,
I can.
Claw can see me and hear me. Ogre can see me and hear me.
Yes. So there's three of us at least.
There's three of us. So we can talk to each other and the world may or may not be able to see and hear us at the same time.
No, I don't know. It's still on. No, maybe not. Maybe we'll never know.
See us and hear us.
Hang on.
Oh, yes. Here we go.
Someone's not muted.
I have muted. I muted it now.
Me.
So, hi
There you
guys,
go.
welcome to Fast Panda. We are going to be talking about Endsong because we've had a couple of videos drop for today between Corvus Belli and on tabletop. So we've seen a bunch of information out of the bundle and we've seen some of the new rules for reinforcements. But more importantly, we've got swag. We got
It's show and
stuff.
tell time.
Yeah.
We got stuff.
So we have things to show you and we have things to talk about.
It's upside down.
No, it's not. You.
Oh, there you go.
And we're as organised as ever. So,
Yes.
jump into the chat. Tell us how you're doing. Share your thoughts on Endsong. If you have questions, ask them. We will do our best to answer them as best we can. And we'll take it from there. So, Claw, where do you want to start?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Let's have a look. See who's in the chat already. I think it's probably a good place to start. If you are watching us, drop us a line, say hello, let us know where you're from, and all that kind of stuff. It's nice to know where people are watching from. I got James. Hi there, and I got Ricky Tiki Check. Hello. Looks like you're going to bed very soon, so you must be Australia way, that kind of stuff, or very lazy, one of the two.
Well, he might work really early in the morning.
He might do.
Yeah.
Might be on night or something like that. We've got Void in the house, who's kind of seeing if we have made a mess of the book already.
The book is fine.
Yeah.
Cheeky bag.
Dan Fock, a bit of a changing topic today. Yeah, just a little bit. We got really excited this morning when the box came and everything kind of kicked off, and it was really good. So we kind of had to talk about these things, didn't we? We can't.
I mean, if we tried to carry on with our other topic, it would have just got derailed into this anyway. So we might as well just steer into the skid.
Might as well.
Got another week or two to think about what we're going to talk about then.
James says, next stream, should you run a tag in your reinforcements? Yeah, I like your idea. That's stealing that. Stolen. We've got too far. Steve Cooper. Jab, how you doing? We've got James, who's going to have to dip out at some point, but get excited about the new book. Yep, it really is quite nice. It's had that new book smell and everything, which I kind of absorbed before I passed it over to Storm. Tony Howell. Hello, buddy. Hello, buddy. Nice to see you in here, and I hope you kind of stick around and see how we go. Kubla Dan, reinforcement rules definitely sound interesting. They do, and we're going to have kind of our first thoughts, second thoughts, third thoughts about them later on. Should be interesting. If you've got any thoughts so far, pop them in. We can read them out as we go. Tamos, good evening. I see Kenny didn't manage to snatch the book after all that time lurking in the hydrangeas for nothing. That's the local Sheffield meta. I've been threatening to break into my house and steal all the stuff all day on the social medias. Josh Rolf, good evening. Good evening. We've got Void. Only saw the unboxing video, so have yet to see the reinforcements vid. Unboxings. We don't do unboxings.
We could tell him anything, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could tell him out.
We generally can anyway. He's a very trusting soul.
James is from Cambridge. Hello, Cambridge. Joseph Pox, hi from Cleveland. Hello, glad to have you along. Jack Davenport, hi from High Wycombe. I'm going down there next month, so I might see you. Psychic Storm.
It's a very small place.
It's quite nice. Got this really nice Tabletop Republic, I think, is the game store in there. Really nice little store.
All right.
Psychic Storm, good evening, gentlemen, and good evening. Genevieve, good evening. And am I the only one worried Endsong is going to be like the Warhammer Fantasy Battle End of Times and that major upsets are on the horizon? Well, one of us three has had a quick look at the fluff, so one of us knows. It's not me or Ogre.
It's not me.
Oh, was it supposed to be me? Was I supposed to read stuff? Whoops.
Psychic Storm, have you seen the second video? Yes, we have. The rules. Waking up at 5:45, so a bit of both. Ricky Ticky Check. Okie dokie. Gaz is on evening, off to do a bedtime, but hyped about reinforcements. Glad to have you along, Gaz. Lou Holland, evening, gents. Ulysses Colin, sorry. The question everybody is asking is, do Drews get new profile? I hope not. Ralph, hi from Germany. Only have half an hour, but watch the chat later. I'm glad to have you along an hour anyway, Ralph. Thank you for joining us. Clyde Jaggings. Clyde, nice. There you are. Yes, you found us. I've glad to have you on board. It's great to see you. Jack Davenport, that's the one. And Trans Behemoth. Good evening, folks. Glad to see Claw didn't get jumped on in his front garden. Yeah, another reference to my house being broke into today because I've got all the goodies. Right. So again, any comments? Pop on the chat, and we'll try and answer them as we can because this is a live stream. So you can ask questions. It's not just a case of stood around a table top talking about stuff and kind of like saying Corvus Belli are excellent, because all my opinions aren't fantastic about the new releases, I've got to admit.
Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Controversial as ever. So where
are we going to start?
Yeah, where should we start?
That's the very question.
So we do have a short-ish video clip of Claw unboxing all the new goodies. Do we want to run that first?
We don't do unboxing videos.
We don't generally do unboxing videos, but Claw couldn't contain his excitement. So if we roll that first, and then we can talk about all the specific bits and look at all the pictures for all the models and all the renders and stuff that we've got. So you guys can sit and enjoy this and not have to listen to us for about 9 minutes.
Okay, so we famously don't do unboxing videos on Fast Panda Gaming, but things change. I was just taking some photographs of these two. The executive officer that you've already seen, probably. Yeah. This one, I want to say dominatrix, but it's not. It's illuminatrix of the observant. Really nice. Yeah, she's really quite nice. Again, I've took some photographs of that. Yeah, she's lovely. I kind of wondered where the body was. It's actually attached to the leg, but you can see that. Do you want to have a quick look? Yeah, let's do. So here we are. The Illuminatrix comes with a head attached to the cloak, which is quite nice. Some detailing there on the cloak, which will pick up quite nice with inks and washes and things, so it should be pretty easy to paint. Small submachine gun type thing, do you reckon? Probably. Yeah, I couldn't find the body, but then I found it at the top of the leg. Come on, focus. Focus. Yeah, there we go. So the body is attached to the leg, which is very, very long. And then the other leg is just leg. And then you've got this thing with the hand on, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to putting this one together. I really ought to put a bikini army together. But yeah, this one's quite nice. Anyway, that is that. Oh, go on then. You've insisted. The executive officer. Ooh. Yeah, this fella, I am not a fan of. I'm sorry, Corvus Belli. I'm really not a fan of his head. The rest of him is fine, but his head, not so much. The body, nice big chunky bit. Come on, focus. There we go. Nice big chunky bit for contact. Some lovely bits of detail, as you'd expect. Not a million miles away from a Shazvasti, so you could kind of convert it to a Shazvasti if you really wanted to. Some weird spindly arms, and the body and the head and the skull or whatever he's holding. Come on, focus, focus. There we go. So the skull and his horrible head. I suppose it can be adjusted. We'll see. But let us know in the comments what you think. Any questions, all that kind of stuff. So that's those done. Oops. Kind of live. Right. I've not opened this yet, so let's have a quick look. Yeah, famous unboxing. Okay. Ooh. So first thing I see is I see two bases. I see the normal Corvus Belli ones. And I see these. These are nice. Bit of a remote leg on it. Combi rifle. That looks like a tin bot head just there where my thumb is. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Quite like that. Yeah, they're going to be used. And Maximus's base. And you know what? I quite like them. They are nice. I like them a lot. Okay, we'll have a look at the bug in a minute. Let's have a look at Maximus. Come on, focus. So, body and torsos. Very nice. I'm not seeing. There's some very fine lines on there, but it's okay. It fits in the base. Like leg two, I guess. Which is that knobbly bits off. Yeah, that look cool. Shield, Max's shield. In the profile, I'm hoping that this is going to be something special. Oh yeah, oh, that's nice. I like that. That is fancy. That's what Max is all about. Oops. And his big gun. And his teeny tiny head. Here he is, Max. Cool. Right. Let's pop all the bits back in there. Okay. The return of the Cascuda. Oh, where's the wings? It's quite nice. Moulding's quite nice. Oh, there's the Cascuda head. That way up, I think. Focus, come on. People at home want to see it. There we go. So there's the head. You know what? I think with a single horn on it, it's much better than having that moon crescent kind of look on the other fella. So I prefer that, that's for sure. And a something. Ooh, guns. Focus. Guns. Is that a combi rifle? I don't think so. Still looks fancy. Modelling wise, this one's got a bit of edge on it. If you can focus on it, there we go. So it's got a bit of an edge down this edge. A bit of cleaning up to do on there. There's a bit across the top, if you can see it, if that's the top. So a little bit of cleaning up on that one. No idea. Funky arms. This, you know what? This looks cool. Oh, they are thunder thighs if I've ever seen them. Look at them. They're pretty cool. Guessing that's the body. Alright, so essentially that's it. We don't do unboxings, but what we'll do is we'll stick the models together, and later on the next live stream we'll show you them what they look all together, which is much better than just looking at bits in a box. So yeah, let's comments below if you want to know anything more about the models. Give us a shout in the comments, and we'll get straight back to you because it's live. So let's get back to it.
Now we're back. Hi guys. So you got to see Claw playing about with all of the new goodies except the book, because he came and deposited the book with me, said you read that, and then ran away.
Yeah. Well, you have skills that I don't have, and yeah, I can read, by the way. You look all the time.
Big words though in there, big words.
Yeah, really big words. So I thought the best person would be Storm to actually review it during the day, and I could play with the models. It suits me.
So we had quite a lot of comments, I think, whilst that was running. Do you want to quickly whiz through them before we talk about all the models individually?
Yep. We have got Nunky Butts, evening from South Derbyshire, evening from North Derbyshire. Crouching Otter, what reinforcements do Nobad get? A full detachment of fast pandas by any chance? Oh, I wish. That'd be ace, wouldn't it?
I could live with that.
Yeah, Tony Howell, I've been a good boy and hit the like button. Keep those likes going. Yeah, if you hit that like button now, it kind of gets the algorithm going, so more people see us and all that kind of YouTubey stuff. So if you hit that like, that'd be cool. We appreciate that. Hi, Mike. We've got James. My prediction from how the reinforcements will pan out is that the people will take fun power lists as their main lists and stick to their specialist and reinforcements of the combat group. Quite possibly.
Are we going to come back to that later?
I think we'll talk about reinforcements a lot more later.
All right, okay.
Just play the mission the last turn. Some of us do that already. Clyde can't help.
Don't even bother in any of the turns.
Clyde dashing and hitting that like button. Ralph, possible continuous option question. Just 350 points at still 15 model disadvantage cheap unit fractions like Ariadne or Hack Islam. Ooh, good question.
Maybe. I've not even thought about that.
Yeah. James says, I don't think it will. It will have expensive options to take if they want to. Steve, does the Claw not like the extra EXO by any chance?
What gave you that impression? Was it the way he casually threw it to one side?
Gaz, initial thoughts on reinforcements. Good counter to the Alpha Strike. Also, will discourage null deployment since if your ARO pieces die, you'll get a new unit sooner.
Fine.
People just often don't because they already have it already on. Don't get that. He looks like the Sandman from the Shining Megami Tennessee minus the Thief Sack. I don't know what that is either. The head does look like something that GW, something like from the GW Gloom Spike gets. The moons, that's just Moonhead.
Yeah.
Moonhead gubbos. Bad Moon comes to infinity. Yeah. So lots of people feeling very similar about his head to me. Gaz says he's a stag beetle, isn't he? Gets that head design from a good differential point, a differential point from the other CA stuff, and hammers home being a bug without going too far down the xenomorph tyrannid route. Yes,
his arms are quite spindly, aren't they?
They're robot arms.
Pardon?
They're robot arms.
Well, exactly. So is he a little bug at the top?
It could be
the
like
rest
a
of
little
him
maggot.
is all robot.
Like a little maggot with teeth, and the rest of it is just robot. Could be.
Yeah, exactly.
And like those textured bases. Me too. I do like those textured bases. They're really nice. Definitely worth pre-ordering. If you're ordering them anyway, definitely pre-order it and get those textured bases. They are really nice. Crouchy got it. My initial impression is the Extract model was similar. I feel underwhelmed due to the X's head and the sculpted base for Maximus Cascunda. Yeah. Richard Rush fourth. Need a dung beetle. Roll that poo out in reinforcements. That excites it. There's going to be a dung beetle now forever in my head. Thank you, mate. There, stuck in it. Nothing wrong with sculpted bases. They just don't match my existing bases. That is a problem. If you've already got a style like for my Pano guys, they're all on winter bases and all that kind of stuff. That could be an issue. Yeah.
Cover them in snow.
Covering them in snow, I suppose. And Clyde Dashing, stick them now, speed stick them. Okay. No, it takes me ages to stick models together. Actually, if I don't pass them off to Storm Shard, stick them together for me. Okay.
I was disappointed that you haven't got them all built, to be honest.
What, in the few hours? No. I'll admit I'm not that good. Okay, so moving on. What's the okay? What should we have a look at first?
So the first pictures I've got are the pictures we saw on the trailer and promo material. So we've got the image of Max facing off against the Cascuda, against that ruined city backdrop, and then we've got Max and Cascuda to look at individually. They're both lovely models, I think.
They are. They are. They are very nice models. And having held them out, they really do look good. They really do. I'm looking at them now. I've got the bases here. Look there.
Do we? I assume the Cascuda is for the combined only, isn't it?
It will be only for the combined. The combined only took a very dim view of the extra who decided to sell weapons to humanity. Can you imagine what it would do to anyone who tried to fight alongside humanity?
So is Maximus? Is it Pano, Aleph, and somebody else?
Pano, Aleph, were the two that were definitely confirmed. I think he said there was someone else as well.
Oh, is it Winterfall?
There's a few of the Pano sectorials are Winterfall, Varuna. I don't think military orders were in the list, but that could be my failing memory.
I'll be painting him up first, I think.
So, talking about Max, we have the picture of Max on his own, focusing on that shield, which does look spectacular.
It is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think rules-wise... Go on, Ogre.
I was just going to say, they painted the shield Pano, and then the rest of him are left. In my eyes, it's just kind of just a bit to kind of cover both bases.
I agree. I think that's deliberately what they've gone for as a paint style. I think the model looks fantastic. The shield being front and center makes perfect sense on Max to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to make a prediction that he might have nano screen when we see the rules for him, because that would be a good way of representing that the impact that shield has on keeping him alive. He used to always count.
Do I take it there's no rules in the book for him then?
There are no rules in the book at all. There's a huge amount of fluff, some painting guides, some scenarios, but there's not a single rule in there, which makes perfect sense given that they are moving towards a more digital footing for their rules. So they can basically have a living rule book.
You don't have to buy this book for rules, unlike some companies could mention.
Yeah, the rules are going to be free for always. That's something they've said. So I think that's
good on
a wonderful thing.
Is he one of the painting guides? Is Maximus one of the painting guides?
No, the painting guides are Let's see if I can remember. The Shakoosh for Hak Islam. Agamemnon for Aleph. And I only glanced at the Bakunian one. I can't remember. I can have a look while we're chatting.
Okay.
Because the book's just here. It's the Penitent.
Casually, yeah, flick through the book.
Yes, the Sister Penitent is the painting guide for the Bakunian. I should have guessed.
Right, okay.
So yeah, we got the renders for Max as well today, so we can see him from different angles. I think he looks nice and beefy. How tall do you think he is, Claw? Actually, having had the model, do you reckon he's silhouette 5 or silhouette 6?
I think he's 5.
You think he's a 5?
I think he's a 5. Yeah, I don't think he's a full. I don't think he's a full size tag. And the base is a 40mm base.
Okay, could still be either. And then we got the dossier, which has him with his multi-marksman rifle and shows a Panzerfaust as well. Which he is big and chunky.
And I think him turning up in round 2 and 3, I think would be. I'm not sure. I think I'd prefer him at the start of the game rather than halfway through. But until we start playing it, we'll not really know.
I like some of the lore that he basically just decided that humanity needed protecting and he was going and no one could stop him.
I guess not, really.
You can either help him or get out of his
do
way.
another Joan of Arc, could they?
I don't think we need another Joan of Arc. We've had 7.
Exactly.
It feels like it. Anyway, we then had the other half of that box, the Cascuda.
It's a dung beetle as it is now.
Exactly. So you're going to throw dung at the table.
It looks nice. I do like the look of this one.
It's hard to tell from some of the renders and the pictures that we've seen which bits are armor and which bits are bug. Because the wings look like they're part of the armor rather than part of the bug itself. They look more artificial. But the blades on his arms and the things coming off his shoulders look more bug carapace.
Pretty much all armored. There's not much bug poking through, to be honest.
It's all armor, little
Pretty
bug.
much all armored, yeah.
And then the dossier we saw for that shows it with a combi rifle and chain rifle. I think I saw on the blurb on Corvus Belli store that's an AP combi rifle, which I think on a dropping tag could be a good weapon fit. It's already going to be in that close range band most of the time. Presumably he's going to get the increased damage that tags get. So it's a damage 14 armor piercing combi rifle in good range when it lands after it's exploded.
I mean, I assume somebody will have a chance to hack it or shoot it when it arrives.
Potentially, yeah.
Oh, hello, what?
If he's got explosive landing and it comes as a reinforcements, when you put that drop troop thing down,
they did say there were going to be 2 profiles for the Cascuda. One is reinforcements and one normal. So maybe the reinforcement one doesn't have the explosive landing.
Right. Bye, Ralph. Thanks for joining us, by the way.
Bye, Ralph.
I've got one eye on the chat.
Okay. So that's the Max and Cascuda box. The next pictures I have lined up are for your favourite model from the set, Al, the EXO.
Hey.
Really? No, it's kind of like,
I don't think Al's got that one anymore. Has the dog eaten it?
No, it's here. It's here, look.
Such enthusiasm.
You know what? I think I got the picture and I kind of like put my thumb over those stupid horns, and it looks okay. So I think if we remove that, I might remove those, or at least the big one that comes that way. Front one comes that way. It's that one. No, I just don't like it.
You can see,
that should be the HVT.
You can see what they've done, though, Kai. You can see what they've gone for.
Yeah, they've gone for like a robot bug thing, and it could be, like you said, a small because it's got the robot arms and kind of robotic leggy type things. So you can see what they're trying to do, and I give them 10 out of 10 for trying, but only probably 6 out of 10 for the actual execution.
Okay, I'm going to jump here. I actually think the paint scheme on it whilst the paint job is fantastic, I don't think the paint scheme helps it because the head is white and the horn, the crest is yellow, which makes it look like two different bits rather than all part of the head together. And the more I look at it, especially when we're looking at the renders, which I think we've got there, the more I like it. It looks more like it's all supposed to be part of the head. And I think if you painted it all, if it was the same colour palette rather than it being two distinct pieces, it might look more natural.
It's kind of weird visor thing.
Yeah.
Is it
To
a
me,
weird-
it looks a bit like it's a bug that's trying to look like a human. You know, like they've bred this bug that looks kind of got a facial feature to it, and then stuck it in some robot armory stuff, and sent it off to go and talk to people.
Yeah.
You're not impressed though, still. Not
I'm
impressed
still
at
not
all.
impressed.
Another thing to me looks a bit like Jedward. Is my, which is like,
Somehow I don't think that is going to improve Claw's opinion of it if you describe it as the Jedward bug.
I think that
the Jedward bug.
I think that it should be the HVT. This model should be a HVT rather than anything else. I don't think it should have the profile and stuff.
Boschy did say it was a HVT option, but it is going to have a profile as well, and the dossier does show it as having plasma carbines, multi-rifles, assault pistols potentially. But
perhaps there's more to come.
There's probably more models to come, but that one's definitely in the classic HVT pose.
I think if on the scale of like 1 to 5, 5 being you'd buy it whatever, 4 if you know what I mean. I think
The old Schreiber scale from Mayercast.
Them, bless them, bless their hearts, memories. I think it's going to be a 1 or a 2. You know what I mean? It's not. Oh. Yeah, 1. I think it's probably a 1 for me. I really don't like it.
I'm getting that distinct vibe.
I don't think I hate it quite that much, but I wouldn't go out and buy it if it wasn't coming in the pack.
If it went free.
Yeah. If
it wasn't free with the book.
It's free, so I'll accept it.
Perhaps that's it. Perhaps they looked at the range and thought, which one do we have to give away?
Yeah. Let's hope so. Carlos said, I think there was going to be more extra by the end of the week, didn't he? So
yeah.
I think we're going to see more pictures as the week goes on. So then we move on to the one that I know you do like, Claw, the Illuminatrix. Illuminatrix?
Yeah, the Stims Dominatrix is awesome. Out of all 4 models, even the tags, and this is my favourite. And it shouldn't be a HVT. I think it really should be a Reverend Healer or something like that.
I've seen a lot of people say they wish it was an actual model with a profile rather than a HVT. I have 2 things to say to that. First thing is your HVT is on the table in 90% of your games, so it's going to see the table more often than some other models in your collection.
Yeah. You can see you can't actually see it, but the detail on it is lovely, and the flowingness and how they've built it and put it together. It's going to be, even I can put this thing together. It really is nice. Really is nice.
And the second thing is, you can always use it as a spec ops or as proxied for something else if you really want to get it on the table as a model. Because there isn't as far as I'm aware, there isn't a Bakunin specific spec ops model at the moment, so you could use it as that.
I would definitely say buy the bundle for that model because it's really nice.
Or just buy that model.
Yeah. Can you get it separately? Is it
yes. Yeah, that's the one you can get that one separately. You get it effectively. You get it free if you buy the whole bundle.
Right. Okay.
It's better than the other free model.
We also saw some artwork for it, and then the dossier, which obviously as a HVT doesn't have any weapons or anything next to it. Just that massive drug gun because she is the drug pusher nun.
She got some stims.
And then the next picture we've got, which I'm sure you're all well aware of by now, is the bundle that is available to pre-order now, with the Max and the Cascuda.
It's the usual price, really, isn't it?
It's a little cheaper, I think, than the last one. It's not much cheaper, but a little cheaper. The book, the Exo, and then the Illuminatrix. So that's everything that we've got in the bundle, apart from the book. We haven't talked about the book. Do we want to quickly go to the comments and the chat, Claw, before we move on to the book?
Yeah, you can do. We've got there's only been a few comments. Don't forget comments, questions, things as we go on. Just pop them in. We can have a look at them. Chilburn, I've just finished painting Ajax. Which version? One with the hammer. That's pretty good. Or the kind of thing. The one with the hammer is really nice. Clyde Dashing, the paint scheme smacks of Starship Troopers bugs. Yeah, it does. What is even Endsong? It's basically the doom of humanity. The baby in the pictures you can see that is a metaphor of humanity being kind of weak and being under threat, as it is. But yeah, the Endsong is doomed for the O12, I think. Richard Russell, those claws will snap off and
on the Cascuda. That's a possibility.
Yeah, being Psychas, I don't think they will. They are pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with the Psychas. Ralph, got to go. Classic Claywood. I want to reiterate that I think you should start a Patreon page or coffee. Really enjoy your videos. Patrons would be such a convenient way for me to feel like I'm contributing. Thank you, class. I appreciate that. And we have talked about it, and we'll get around to it one day. Some kind of membership thing.
Maybe.
We'll sort it. Maybe one day, yeah.
But they just sent us a whole bunch of new toys, so they take priority over anything else.
The fact that Corvus Belli send us these things, that means the world to us. So anybody from Corvus Belli watching this, thank you so much. We really appreciate that you acknowledge us, and it keeps us going. It really does. It really made us happy this morning, that's for sure.
There's a little smiley face I've seen all day.
Yeah, all over, popping up on all the social medias where I've been posting things. Extras have become more cybernetic than the bug carapace on the new redesign. Yes, they have. Compared to the old sculpt, I don't know if you've ever seen it, or I don't think we can show a copy of the old one. Yeah, it's a lot more armored rather than bug type thing. It's definitely.
It was like a bit crabby, I thought.
The old one did look like a big crab.
Joseph Pox, I really want this model to have a profile and not just be an HVT. Yeah, it's a really nice one. Richard Rushforth, usual for a HVT to have a gun, or unusual to HVT to have a gun. It's more of a stim thing, but yeah, it is normally. If I didn't know which one the HVT was, I would have definitely said the officer was the HVT and this wasn't. So yeah, that's a bit weird. Chilburn, I was annoyed, worried Ajax being replaced now. He'll be back. Ajax.
Even if they do put out a new Ajax sculpt, the old one is still fantastic, so I would happily keep using it. Mine's on the shelf and it's going to stay. All the troops love him. That's why they kept him in the first place. Yeah.
Okay.
So
book time.
This book, this lovely book here that I'm holding up in front of me.
Yeah, that book.
That one. It is. Now this, you often see people say they don't know where to get the lore. This book is 90% lore for Infinity. So if you want to know the story of what's going on, this is the book. It's got loads of story. I haven't had a chance to read all of it because there's quite a lot of it, and I've had to do real life stuff today. But I have had a skim through. So if people don't mind spoilers, I can tell you a little bit about what's happened to the story.
Should we tell them to come back in 30 seconds?
Yeah, press mute for 30 seconds.
No, go on, tell us what's going on. Tell us.
Tell us. So, the Combined Army has moved on, as we know, from Paradiso, and it's made it to Concilium Prime, because we had the Durgama campaign, which is all set on about their invasion of Concilium Prime. And the reason they're on Concilium Prime is they are looking for that Tazeki digester in the Penny Arcade. And
yeah.
To summarise it, without giving too much, I'm not going to go through everything. They find the digester. Something happens to the digester, and it explodes effectively. It goes boom. All the probes that were a part of the digester also go boom with an 80% casualty rate, causing mass devastation across Concilium Prime, and has what's described as quantum events or quantum fallout or something afterwards, which causes people to disappear, buildings to disappear, buildings to change their quantum structure on an atomic level. Basically, Concilium Prime is in a bad way. Now, the Toha may or may not have been involved in what made the digester go boom, because, the Toha are the real bad guys.
Yeah, they are.
But the real surprise twist for me at the end of this is this has happened before, apparently. The Toha have done this before to prevent the EI getting their hands on a digester. The EI don't want that to happen again. They don't want to lose the opportunity. So they have an armistice with the human sphere. They basically sign a temporary peace treaty on the grounds of limiting loss of life on Concilium Prime to let humanity get people off the planet. But basically they're trying to buy themselves time to get hold of this digester. So it's not...
Right.
That I didn't see that coming in when I started reading. I was assuming that one of the human nations was going to, switch sides or something. But it looks like there's going to be a tentative peace between humanity and the combined army, at least on the surface, which is the perfect time for doing spec op type missions against each other to nick stuff and cause damage. So I've left a lot out. But that's a Cliff Notes version of what I managed to skim through in a couple of hours today.
Cool.
And then that's like the first 30 pages, and the rest of the book is then detail on Bakunin, Hak Islam, Aleph, and then a big chunk on at the back on all the reinforcement sector, all the reinforcement units, but just the lore of them. So, for example, you get to see a list of what's in Equip Argent for Ariadne, and it lists 5 or 6 units. Now, I don't know if those lists are comprehensive of what you're going to see in Army as your reinforcements, but there's definitely lots of lore in there and bits and pieces, which ties in to a lot of the pictures we saw in the artwork that came out in the trailer, which we can flick through whilst we're chatting, rather than looking at our ugly mugs.
So is there anything that kind of popped out to you in any of the units or anything like that? Did you mention earlier you knew there was that ninja-looking guy with the sword, wasn't there?
There was
in one of the photos.
The ninja-looking guy that we
Who was
saw
that?
in one of the arts is called a Nightshade, and it's part of O12, which I wasn't expecting when I initially saw the artwork. I was expecting it to be...
I thought he might be a non-aligned myself, but yeah.
There are a few new units listed for the non-aligned. I can find the relevant page and mispronounce them.
Excellent.
I
thought the non-aligned would just be like Spiral or something. That's what Spiral would do.
Well,
Because there was a picture of Spiral, wasn't there, in the book somewhere?
I don't want to give...
Or is Spiral still there, I guess?
Spyro and Toha are still there. They are listed under the... They've got options listed for them in the back section. Certainly Toha have a number of units listed. Nothing particularly new. Rasail are in there. Kosoil and Nima is in there. They're listed, but I imagine they'll have more than just 3 units available to them as reinforcements.
Yeah.
And certainly things like the non-aligned, they only have something named Operation Samsa listed. But I assume there will be other options, because things like Sekban are listed for Hak Islam, and they're mercenaries, aren't they? Or they were way back when.
Kind of QK, weren't they? But they were boarding actions, weren't they? I think, or something like that. So that kind of goes with the reinforcement thing, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I always liked the models for the Sekban, I must admit, but couldn't fit them in anywhere. Is there anything about the poster boys for reinforcements were the Muyibs, weren't there? Is the Muyibs listed?
Muyibs do not make the list for Hak Islam.
Right, okay.
But that's why I say I'm not sure that the list in here is going to be comprehensive.
Yeah, just maybe new.
Because some of the sectorials or some of the factions have lists that are sort of 8 to 10 models, and others have ones that are 1 or 2, and it seems to me it can be difficult to make a reinforcement chunk out of just a couple of units.
Yeah.
Especially when one of them is like a named character. Or
Yeah.
at least comes across as a named character from the bit of fluff that I managed to read. But I think there's more going. There's going to be more of those reinforcement options than what listed in the book. But the book is great. The lore in there is great. The artwork is gorgeous. There's lots of artwork of new units. There's lots of artwork of existing units, but done in a new style. There's lots of nice pictures. The one that you were alluding to earlier, Claw, with the O12 officer holding the bundle, which is presumably a baby. There's quite a few pictures like that, sort of things have gone wrong, evacuation type time. They're really cool. They're nice.
Did the baby survive?
We're going to assume yes. This
right.
is a family show. O12 had hold of the baby. Of course the baby was going to be fine. O12 were there to make sure that everything...
They arrested the baby.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So I need to...
He could have been a little bug under there, couldn't he? Under the wrapping.
The other thing that Bostria alluded to is there are 3 scenarios at the back of the book. And
Can we play them, please?
We can. We possibly need to wait for reinforcements to, hit army, because they are designed to be played with the reinforcements rule. But you also get one-shot codes. So there are codes in the book for you to report the games in the OTM, in the tournament.
Oh, that's good.
So they can keep track of who won what. They look quite interesting on a glance. There's some interesting new rules in there, where you get to sedate civilians and HVTs.
Even with a slightly smaller hammer. Sedate.
And there was a rule in one of them called sudden death. At the end of every game round, any model that is in an unconscious state is dead.
Ooh.
Nice.
So you can't leave them there.
Bye.
I'll hear them later. No, they will die.
Very sad. Anyway.
So from a glance through the book, I was really impressed. I think the artwork's good. I think the way it's written is much more chronological. It doesn't. Some of the earlier source books read more like history textbooks, if that makes sense. This one felt more like a series of events being relayed from different points of view, but told in a chronological order, which worked for me. There's crises with the circulars. There's all sorts of stuff and things going on I didn't cover in my 30-second review. So if you want the lore, definitely pick up the book.
The books, the Corvus Belli books, if you are coming from Warhammer 40k or whatever, and you've got and you're used to having the codexes that have the fluff and the units and the rules and things like that. Think of them like that, but there's 3 armies in this book. There's Aleph, Bakunin, and what's the other one?
Hack-Islam.
Hack-Islam that it goes through, as well as lots of lore for the units and things like that. They are well worth picking up, the books and the previous ones. The
Raven Eye, Third Offensive, all those. They've all been good.
Yeah, they're really well worth getting hold of if you can, and kind of look at, and it fills in all that fluff. And you hear a lot of, but what about the backstory and the background and all that kind of stuff? It's all there. It's lovely. It's great. It's rich. It's really. It's in these books, and it's definitely worth picking them up and go for it and buying it. And I had a quick look through this one this morning before I passed it on, and the pictures are lovely. I didn't read any. Pictures are lovely.
Oh dear. And there's a nice dot-to-dot as well.
Some colouring. Yeah.
Spot the difference.
So, do we move on to the rules, or do we want to check for chat before we do?
We've had a few in the chat. Okay. Richard Rusforth regarding the digester did the dip it in the tea for too long. Dan Fock says that doesn't sound good. Soggy digestives always fall in and make a mess. So yeah, I think they're going down it. So the digestive's more to do with soggy biscuits. Lou Holland, I'm here for the Toa resurgence.
I think it'll come. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years we see a Toha revamp like they did with Shazvasti.
Yeah,
I think that's certainly
with Shazvasti.
Well, they did a whole range refresh, didn't they, with Shazvasti a couple of years ago when we got Operation Wildfire.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you
then-
mean like Shazasti?
Yeah, like they did with the
No.
Shazasti. They did a whole
Oh, right,
range
sorry.
refresh. I can
Listen.
see Toha getting that in a couple of years. They're certainly setting the story up that something else is going to happen with the Toha.
They are the real bad guys. Okay. Clyde saying fighting over digestive biscuits, such a bleak, dark future for humanities. Yes, it is. Mike, peace is never an option. Stay evil combined. Peace is not an option. Not with the EI. Richard Russell says, from a business point of view, it seems a way of Corvus Belli to make mini sectorials without committing a full release. Yeah, they get to release a load of new more models. that's the underlining thing I see about this is reinforcements, a load of new units, because in that book there's loads of units I've never seen or heard of before that are going to come. So there's going to be loads more releases for the next year or so. That's as a business goes, I can't see a problem with that.
As long as they are the quality of models we've come to expect from Corvus Belli, I don't think anyone's going to complain about more models to pick from.
There's no more Moonhead people.
I think there's going to be a few of them, unfortunately. But maybe they kind of like calm it down a bit. Maybe he's the worst. That's why they had to give him away free with the book. Void says, keep the baby away from Claw's MO. He has a tendency to try and kill them all, unless it's a Sphinx, then I forget. Dan, to be fair, it's mostly Shaz children. Yeah, it is. I do kill Shaz children. Void says, Dan Fokker, that's the word. That's the worst. He's a speciesist. I am. Dan says, MOs can be problematic for sure. Psychic Storm, it was Shasvasti. MO were justified. Yeah. Tauso, what is MO? Military orders. They are the religious zealots of Pan-Oceania. Kraby Kong.
Show him your t-shirt.
God is with them. Toa is
got
coming
that.
back in a couple of years to save the human sphere. Maybe.
I doubt that. Toha are not the good guys. The entire reason that the human sphere is fighting the combined army is because the Toha wanted a speed bump. And they pointed the combined army at humanity and went, go and deal with them for a bit. Give us a breather.
Combined army just wants peace. Peace equals confirmed. I don't think so, Sir Rigidity. Dan says military orders are from Pano. Yeah. Military orders. Crouching Otter. Sorry, not Crouching Tiger. Is there any part of the GT Digester or the Penny Arcade in the book? I've only heard about them to be referred to by name before, but I have no idea what they really are. So Crouching Otter is asking about what the Digester is and the Penny Arcade. So, Mr. Law,
It's over to me, is it? I didn't.
Let's hope it looks like a big biscuit.
I don't recall on the glance through seeing any art that looked specifically like the Digester or the Penny Arcade. There might be some in some of the earlier books, but I'd have to go back and hunt for it. I've always just pictured the Penny Arcade as being some sort of big research facility, some sort of big corporate type, mega corporate type facility, part military, part science. And I don't know why, but I always imagine the Tazeki Digester as being sort of bulbous, like a large brain for some reason. But that's probably because it absorbs the information and data. But I don't know if there's been any official artwork of them. I'm sure if there has, someone will tell me.
Everyone go to the internet and let us know in the next few days.
Are we all caught up?
Or draw a picture of a biscuit.
Yeah, we've got James saying, I really want the Combine Arbiters to stop winning every law advancement. Essentially, it's the invasion of our human sphere, that's what the story is. So they are going to advance.
Well, James, I would say that they don't win in this one. They certainly are not the winners in this. They suffer as much from what happens with the Digester as humanity does on Concilium Prime. Things do not go all their way.
It's not. Yeah, he says it's not really interesting that they just get to get what they want every time. But, But yes, they're not the winners on this one, obviously. It's the Tower who keep kind of like delaying them. That's the winners. Check N2 books for the digester. Penny Arcade has never been shown. That's because it's secret. And
Well, it was secret. It's now like a gaping hole in the ground.
and Paul says, I don't see the digester blowing up as being a win for the CA. Yeah. Okay, so rules.
So then, before we went live this evening, we got a second video, which started talking about the rules for reinforcements. So we grabbed some of the slides that Boaster and the guys on Tabletop talked about, and we're going to talk about them too. So the first picture we have shows when reinforcements will get requested. So it'll happen in the tactical phase. It'll happen after you've used command tokens to move people about from group to group, but before retreat. So your reinforcements can arrive and keep you from going into retreat, which is quite handy.
And you get the orders for them.
And you'll get the orders for them because it happens before the order count. Now, it was said that they will turn up in the second turn if you've lost more than
50 points.
Yeah, more than 50 points. One of you.
But I would take that with a pinch of salt because the young Bostria tends to get a little bit some of these things wrong, doesn't he? Bless him.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not 50%.
Yeah,
that's quite a lot.
As with everything we see during this week, I'd say it's all subject to being tweaked and changed because obviously the rules are digital now. They can change them right up until the last minute if they notice they've got something in there they didn't mean to. But them turning up in either turn 2 or turn 3, I think is quite an interesting take on it, especially with everything else we found out about it today. So the second slide shows where they'll deploy. So there'll be a drop pod marker that has to go somewhere in your half of the table and then has a radius around that where you can deploy your drop troops, your reinforcements, but they can't go into your opponent's half of the table. I assume that when it wasn't said, but when the reinforcements arrive on the whether it's turn 2 or turn 3, you'll deploy them at that point before you then work out order count. So there'll probably be some restrictions on
where and how and
yeah, and I'm assuming they turn up then to prevent their arrival triggering a whole swathe of AROs.
Yeah, do the mines go off and
all that stuff I'm sure will be covered, but this is what we know for now. The third slide went on to explain about Comlink and the fact that you will pick a model with Comlink for your army, and he'll give you 100 points and 2 SWC as a separate combat group to build your reinforcement section from.
Yeah, this is the bit I didn't get because he also said that if he dies, it still operates. So what's the point in everyone? They just say it's going to happen.
Just to have it in your
what's the point?
list, isn't it?
Something else he said during that is some models are going to have like Comlink +1, which means you can go to 16 models rather than the 15 you're normally limited to because you're allowed an extra model in your reinforcement section. So presumably there's going to be some others that may be Comlink +1 SWC or something, so you can get more.
Oh right, yeah.
There's lots of options they could play with there for what you do with that Comlink skill, and how it's going to interact with other established elements of the game.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Because they do that, don't they? They add extra lieutenant orders and things like that in.
Yeah, given what we know so far, that's how I assume that's going to play. So yeah, as you just said, even if that Comlink model goes down, the army list is already built, so you'll get the extra models as reinforcements because their Comlink is still active. And if you don't take a model with Comlink, you can't use request reinforcements, but you still get the same number of points that the game would have been played to. That wasn't specifically said, but it seems like a logical conclusion to me. The fourth slide we saw showed an example of a theoretical example of 2 combat groups, one with 5 SWG and 250 points, and then the reinforcements made up of 5 units, which was 2 SWG and 100 points. And Bostria, or one Cascuda, yeah. Bostria did say that with reinforcements, the standard size game, as they've been playing it, is 350 points, which is a bit of an increase for what we're used to.
It is. But the thing is, he also said that things change as well. So if they find that they're playing 400 points total, I imagine it's down to the tournament organizer to say you've got 300 points as you would normally have, and then you've got another extra 100 points in reinforcements. It could be a 400-point game. I think that's down to the tournament organizer and how things flow. And being a game that does kind of like ebb and flow and change, and like you said, it's molded by the players. It could be 400 points, or it could stay as a 200-point list with 100 points turning up later. It could be still 300 points. At this point, we don't know what's going to happen because nobody's playing it really, and things will change. And I think that's one of the good things about Corvus Belli. They'll bring something in, and if they make a mistake, they'll change it. It's great.
I guess Bostria summed it up perfectly when he said that there's no games developer out there who can test the system in the same way that 20,000 players are going to test it. They will find things you never intended. They will find the combinations that you didn't find just because of sheer volume of people playing. I think it was a great point. And they're very open about that, which I think is wonderful.
And that's another good thing about the rule book being a live rule book rather than being printed straight away. Is they can change things if things are not working. If things they find a better way of doing it, they can just change it. I think that's great. That's why I like Infinity as opposed to some other games.
So that slide with the item list did say the reinforcement section will only be allowed to be made up of unit profiles which includes the reinforcements tag effectively, or trait rather than tag. I don't want to get you confused. So that's going to limit options and allows you to include units like the Cascuda and have them in a normal variant and a reinforcement variant.
So you can have two.
Potentially, yeah, you possibly could have two. You could have a regular one and a reinforcement.
That is something to look forward to when we see the profiles.
Indeed. I did think it was interesting that obviously, and it makes sense because of where it fits, that you can't move troops from one combat group to another until the following turn, but obviously that makes sense with the turn sequence. But it does mean that if you're bringing them on in the third turn, you've really got to think about how many things you've got in that reinforcement group and have they got the orders to do what they want to do. Does that reinforcement group end up being one sort of pseudo Rambo with some orders to let it do what it needs to do?
Probably.
So it
depends.
Oh.
Somebody said depends.
It depends.
And then the fifth slide was just a confirmation that reinforcements section counts towards the maximum number of 15 troopers in the list. With the
maximum maybe.
Yeah, with the exceptions of Comlink may tweak that a little bit, which is interesting. Especially, someone asked earlier, did we think that reinforcements are going to disadvantage Hak Islam and Ariadna? Not if they get Comlink plus 2 or 3. If you allowed an extra 2 or 3 models,
that's true.
That's going to make that extra points value just disappear.
Good point.
So that's what we learned about the rules. It's all subject to change, and we've only seen 5 slides, which is a far way from a full set of comprehensive rules to cover every eventuality. But I'm sure people have comments and questions that we can try and answer, or at least debate how we think it's going to work.
Yeah, if you've got any questions, just quickly jot it down, and we can try and we'll get to you.
Well, there was already one right at the start, wasn't there, about how we think it's going to affect the Alpha Strike.
Yeah,
and when we chatted beforehand, we thought it'd be one way, but somebody suggested it would be the other way.
Yeah, that was Gaz.
Disadvantage, not Gaz, was it?
Yeah, my thought was that if it might encourage Alpha Strikes, because say you've got a couple of big expensive units, you run them forward, and if you've got first turn, you run them forward, and knowing that they're expendable, especially if they're worth more than 50 points, you just charge them forward, see what damage they can possibly do, and take out your opponent as much as possible. Because then all of a sudden, you know that you've got reinforcements coming back to replace him. So if you can kind of wipe out your opponent and put him in retreat and all that kind of stuff in turn one, bonus. So that's my thought: is it going to encourage it, alpha striking? But as Gaz says, it might not. Because are you going to build your list to compensate? I don't know. It's until we start playing it and start seeing what the results are coming back. It really is still speculation. What your thoughts?
For me, I was just thinking, if you do get alpha struck, at least you've got some stuff coming. You've still got some stuff alive. So, I mean, they can only cause so much damage, I guess. Sometimes I'd have loved to have started turn 2 with 100 points models. So, I don't know. I think it helps to some extent. You can almost, yeah. I mean, if you almost plan that some of you guys are going to get killed, you could leave guys out ARO, couldn't you? You know what I mean? You don't have to. You can say, well, if they get killed, they get killed. I'll just get the extra guys, to come in afterwards. I think it changes a lot of. You're not going to worry as much about stuff getting killed right at the start. I don't think. So I think it's potentially you can leave more stuff out as an ARO in that first turn, knowing you're going to get back up. I quite. I think that could be all right. I've just been having as I was speaking, I was just thinking about Ariadne getting the +1/+2 as well, because obviously they're going to bring in the French, aren't they, as the Ariadne reinforcements. And I think so. It would be very advantageous for the hacks and the Ariadnes of the sphere to get extra bodies in, don't they, because of their lower points count. Also, just to throw it in for maybe somebody commenting, I was thinking about if you drop your Tag or Cascuda or whatever right near your other, like a team that you're dropping in on, surely they're going to be able to hack you and take you out like dead easy. You know what I mean? You're almost dropping into, well, the hands of the nomads, aren't you? I guess if you kind of get too close.
Mm.
And then maybe you would want your whole regiment of fast pandas.
Yeah, if you've got on the battlefield repeater, and you kind of like limit where you can actually drop that drop pod. Yeah, that could be a problem.
Yeah,
especially if you've got 4 or 5 hackers.
Who would do something so low down and despicable?
You.
This is why I think that you're going to just deploy them around that drop pod beacon without triggering AROs. Obviously, you've still got to then move them, but I think you also have to be careful if about pushing too far, because it's going to be much easier to be caught out of position if your opponent is suddenly putting down 5 more models after you've made your advance. So keeping your Rambo pieces that you've pushed up the board in cover is going to be trickier. I mean, you're going to know where the drop pod marker is. I'm assuming that goes down at the beginning of the game, but I don't actually know if you said when it goes down.
Oh, maybe it goes down at the start of your turn.
Maybe you put it down at the start of your second turn when you're bringing your reinforcements in. I don't know. Well, I don't believe he mentioned it.
It must be, surely.
Because if you put it down at the start of the game, then your opponent can work around it and
mine it and put mines and repeaters and everything else around it.
They could be despicable like me and fill the entire area with mines and repeaters. Yeah.
Land just there, mate.
Yeah, no, you must be able to pick. Surely, that would be terrible if you have to say where they're going to come in first.
No,
it must be got to be a choice.
Yeah, my first army that I'm thinking of is like I'm thinking I really want to put 3 Tiger soldiers in my first army, so I can have a drop pod and Tiger soldiers all coming in like turn 2. That'd be fun.
That's it. If you've got anything left to give the Tiger soldiers any orders, though.
Yeah. Well, you kind of make them all kind of Put a tag. Put a Grieger down. That'll do. Grieger, 3 Tiger Soldiers, reinforcements. There's my list.
Sorted.
I'm not quite sure that's the spirit it's meant to be played in, but we'll give it a go. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll give it a go.
I've seen a few people in the comments asking about if this is a standard mod. So it's going to be an extra. So in the same way that we have extras at the moment in ITS, like the mercenaries. What's it called? There's a mercenaries extra. There's a limited insertion extra. It's going to be another one like that. So people will be able to play tournaments without it if they don't like it or they don't want to. And I'm equally assuming that even if the reinforcements extra is on a tournament, you're not going to be obliged to take something with Comlink. You'll then be able to take a 350 point list.
No, it says you must include in that.
Did it say must?
It says must include the comlink. Yeah. You're looking now, aren't you?
I will have to go and have a look, but I can't go and have a look now without changing the slide that we're all looking at.
It does say must. It's one of those. If it's included, you must take it.
Does it say must?
On the army, on the army, kind of like selection slide.
On the army selection slide.
It's there.
Blokes look things up on the internet.
The player must assign 100%. It does say must there.
This could change. As we know, Corvus Belli can change words quite.
But I'm sure this one says may, where it says they may include a troop with a comlink. It doesn't say must on there. Okay, we shall wait and see. You're probably right. I'm probably wrong, Claw. I'm guessing that must will trump may.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it does say, it says must. On the list building selections,
yeah, it does.
It says must. So.
It does indeed.
Corvus Belli changes their wording, so it may be, maybe not.
So we're beginning with them.
Yeah, but the thing is,
that's all we know.
We also know if Corvus Belli kind of like notice that all their tournaments, they're not being included, they'll just change things. If it's not liked, it'll certainly go down. Let's have a quick look at the chat. Psychic Storm. They did not get what they want from the previous book. So the Fortress Monastery was lost, but none of the artifacts they wanted were acquired. So yeah, that's another comment saying that combined armies don't always get what they want. James says they didn't say how this works with exclusion zones, did they? I don't think you did. I can't recall that being mentioned.
He didn't mention it, but we are also going to be due a new season of ITS soon, so I assume it'll be detailed in there, and all the reinforcement rules.
Coyote PD says no. They also didn't think they measured whether you can deploy these models normally at the start of the game.
I would assume not. I'm assuming models in the reinforcement section have to arrive. As reinforcements.
I think they're going to be a bit cheaper, aren't they? I think you were saying they'll start off to be a bit cheaper than the normal price.
He did allude
because
to
the fact
that.
They're only going to be on there 1 or 2 turns.
That was certainly alluded to.
Yeah. Richard Rushforth says it seems similar to the old mechanized deployment.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
I can't remember that far back. Reinforcements of 350 points for now. They are. Steve Cooper Bosch says that you only have one combat group on the table, with the second being the reinforcement group. So 250 points on the table is probably enough, but the reinforcement group could be larger, I guess, with the +1 +2 thing, maybe.
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it said 15 maximum, didn't it? It didn't say how you split them. You split them different.
It could be 14-10, or it could be 8-7.
It just said 100 a point and 2 SW. That's claw math. Well, welcome to my world.
Oh dear God.
Richard Russell, have to see the full rules. I feel go hard with a tag or such. Don't care if they die. You get another 100 points. Yeah. Because in that reinforcements is always specialist to press all the buttons in round 3. Chilburn, looks like reinforcements would be good for some ITS missions, like getting Corsair or Master Breacher. Is that right? Does that dilute the updates any?
So it's not going to be just for specific missions. It's going to be an extra for the entire, for whatever event it's an extra for. So it's not the same as the Corsair or the CSU. If you go into an event where reinforcement play, your lists will both be built with reinforcements in mind rather than the scenarios being reinforcement specific. At least that's how I interpret everything that was said.
They said it was going to be general rule, says James. So that seems like you can do it on all the missions. Yep. Just what Storm just said. Kyoto BT, it seems like the reinforcements is meant to mitigate missions, being destroy the enemy first, score the second in practice. I think it's still the same. I think it's destroy the enemy first and bring your specialists in round 3, just press all the buttons. It's exactly the same. Okay, skipping forward a bit, Richard Rutherford would also would the first player not get reinforcements first get a beta strike, so to speak? Good point, well made. So you've kind of had one alpha strike already, and you get another one in to finish off. So if there's no more models left on the table, do you win? It's going to be interesting. I really want to see how this pans out. It's certainly going to be interesting.
So does that mean that if you go second, you want to not cause your opponent too much damage in your first turn, so they don't get their reinforcements in turn 2?
I was just thinking that as well.
But you get your reinforcements in turn 2, and they have to wait. Oh, that's a whole level of metagaming that my brain is just going to melt.
Oh my goodness! You can see by Claw's face though; he's already got this sussed.
Yeah. Nah, I'm just going.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Voites, I think it works towards avoiding turn 1 complete curb stomping when you are left with so few minis, no specialists, so there's no point in turn 2 or 3. No.
It does definitely keep you alive in a game where if things have gone badly in turn 1.
You must have lost 50 points in before you can deploy reinforcements. I kind of like that. I don't know if you two have picked up on that. I kind of like the you must have lost so many points for him to arrive. Perhaps I'm not too sure whether a fifth of that army is enough. I think maybe 100 points would probably be better. But again, these things are liable to change. Kubla Down, yep, says the mod, the best way of doing it for options for normal tournament play. Yep. Gaz says makes sense. Makes sense. It'd be pick where your pod goes when reinforcements are confirmed.
I hope so.
Yeah, you don't say where your pod is at the start of the game.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because then you can put them where you need it. If your left flank's dead, you can stick them on the left and all that kind of stuff. Or
it'd be more hindrance rather than reinforcement, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or your opponent's tag has just walked down the left-hand side, and I can land behind it and shoot it in the back, which is always the best way of doing it, especially with an AP gun coming in from parachutists and things.
You're still bitter about so many things.
They're all there. They're all there. If it's fun, why not give it a go? Yeah. James, I like it. It sounds like fun. Everyone should give it a go before having a hard opinion on it. Yeah, we really haven't got a clue how it's going to pan out. It really does sound interesting.
It's
Peter,
certainly going to shake things up.
It is.
Regardless of anything else, it's going to be a big shake-up to events where the reinforcement rule is in effect. You've got 50 more points. You've got a combat group that you're not going to see until turn 2 that's going to turn up in a set zone. It's definitely going to mix things up, and it's take a little while for everyone to get used to.
Definitely. Peter Nert says here we got a pretty big discussion about the points. Is a standard game now 300 points of 200 points until 250 points of normal troops, 50 points, 200 points of reinforcements. What means 3 and 4? Peter, I think basically what it is, we've had 300 points for a long, long time. Previously, there have been difference, but it's settled on 300 points, and it really is down to the tournament organizer and the tournaments that people are going to of what the point sizes have ended up being at 300 points. And now they've decided to go for the extra 50 points in total. So you've got 250 points with your main army, and then you've got 100 points in your reinforcement army. And you've got 5 SWC in your main army and a couple in your reinforcements. And that's how it's working. And again, these things are subject to change.
Plus, they've just released 2 tags, and they want you to take them.
Yeah, and they're going to be about 100 points to SWC.
Probably.
Dum. It may well be the meme of the guy walking into the burning flat with the pizzas that the game goes badly. I think it might encourage people to run powerful, fun toys, then bring specialists later in the mission. That's me. Someone else in Endsong, signal user code reports the narrative missions. Yeah, that was Storm mentioned that earlier. That is such a great thing because they will learn from that. Because those missions at the back of the book are specifically the reinforcement rule missions, aren't they, Storm?
They're certainly written with the intention of the reinforcements being a thing. There's nothing in the missions themselves that say you can't play them without reinforcements, but it's definitely looks like they're intended to be played with reinforcements, and that's what Bostry said that that's the way they're intended to be played.
Yeah, so they'll certainly learn some things from that.
It'll definitely give them some data to work on if everyone does it. And obviously, if we don't do it, then we don't give them the data, and it doesn't help them. So if you get the book, use the codes, make sure you report them.
We'll see what happens. Richard Ruth, shall we just agree that speculation is fun? Yes, speculation is fun because we're never right. Coty BD, I wish CB made possible. I wish Corvus Belli made it possible to report non-official ITS results, keeping it separate. But it may be all the narrative casual players are using the models, and the competitive models are considered unplayable. I bring models that I think are fun. I don't generally bring the ones that are the best ones. So yeah, I probably agree with that.
Can you report one-shots under free play? Could you still report your casual games under a one-shot code? I don't know. I've never tried to do it.
I think so.
Because I know free play is an option, isn't it, for the mission type? Because that's how it allows tournament organisers to put in custom missions. And Ogre apparently has had enough. He's just gone. we said something to upset him.
Yeah, but yeah, I think if you and the mate are playing those missions at the back of the book, just report it. Kubla Dan, will change games dynamic get more models upfield, whereas some models never move from the initial deployment position. In some games, you could basically get loads of arrows in the middle. Yeah, you could. Get loads of arrows in the middle. You basically cheerleaders at the back, and you've got the midfield models that kind of go there and they stay there, and then they give you the arrows. I think putting another 5 up to 5 models or so in the center, that could be interesting. And again, it's going to be. I am desperate to find out how this is going to play. I really am looking forward to playing this. Chris Cenobite, I wonder if the defensive units were better now. Having a strong aero piece might be a great strategy. Yeah, those long yas and things like that, and total reaction HMGs, they're going to do some work. I see that now. Interesting. Psychic Storm says, interesting idea. It will increase the data to analyze they'll need for infrastructure. Yeah.
I'd hope, given that they're giving out these free codes, that they've thought about the amount of data. I mean, they're going to know how many copies are going to be out there, so they can do a quick calculation of how much data should be coming back.
Mm.
The individual codes, do you think, are they individually created codes? Or is it the same code that everybody's going to get in the same book?
I'm assuming that it's going to be the same code for each mission that they'll then obviously be filtered out at their end somewhere, so they can see all.
We will find out when we buy another book.
Yeah, there'll be another. We'll have another copy of the book we can check. I don't think it would be feasible or realistic to print out different codes in every book.
Exactly.
So I'm assuming it's the same code in every book, and it'll all get filtered out at the software at their end, so they can see all the results from mission 1 of Endsong.
Okay, so any other thoughts, second thoughts about the rules? We've been chatting about them.
I like them. There you go. That's my summation of the whole thing. I'm excited to play games.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, we're always excited to play games with Infinity. So, I don't really have any other second thoughts we haven't covered. I mean, I think until we've seen more, it's really hard to know how it's going to impact. Other than it is going to have a big impact in events where this is extras in play. It's going to have a big impact on how things are done.
I think tomorrow when we see the first, is it Pano and Ariadne reinforcement list, that will hopefully, make it a little clearer as what we're going to be looking at for possible reinforcements and things.
It depends if we're just going to see a list of units or if we're going to start seeing a few profiles as well. So I will definitely be watching tomorrow to see what we find out.
Because you've already got a list of units in the book, haven't you? So
there is a list, but I really don't think it's a complete list. It doesn't feel like a complete list.
Yeah,
it feels like a highlight reel.
Yeah, it can change. Being Corvus Belli, things change from day to day, hour to hour. Bless them.
Are we all caught up on the comments? Are we all done?
Yeah, we've got a couple more. We've got lack of data is itself data. If a unit isn't appearing in a competitive tournament, then it can indicate something about them being quite right, and that's from Thamos. Peter, if I see this right, it means that when I use enforcement rules, the second combat group will then be the reinforcements. Yeah, that's how they're doing it. They're doing it as a separate combat group. So yeah, that's it. Caught up on the chat.
Wonderful. So
I've got some models to stick together.
You've got some models to stick together. We have been chatting for about an hour and a half. I think people have spent enough time listening to us witter. We will be back with another stream talking about more stuff to do with Endsong next week or the week after when we know more.
When we know more and we've seen some profiles and we've seen all the bits and pieces, this is very up to date and live.
This is not like us.
When Claus stuck stuff together.
Yeah, when Claus stuck some stuff together, maybe thrown some paint on something, maybe thrown the ex-officer out of a window.
I was going to say, buried it in the garden.
But thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you guys have enjoyed going through the bits and pieces with us and asking us questions.
Yeah, get the pre-orders done because you do get some good stuff. If you pre-order now, you get the bases on the Cascuda and Maximus, which is really nice. If you're going to buy them anyway, you must buy them with the bases. You get the 2 free models, one of which is quite nice, one is not. But the thing is, you get extra models. So yeah, I'm not 100% Corvus Belli kind of in between, but really, we are buying another copy of this between us because it's worthwhile doing. So yeah, get out and support your local game store or go directly to Corvus Belli, whatever you want to do. But yeah, get it pre-ordered. It's really cool.
We're also buying another copy between us because we're really bad at sharing.
Yeah, we want more.
Yeah. Don't want to share your toys.
No. Any final words from you, Ogre?
I think we've covered everything, really. I'm just quite looking forward to the end of the week when we know more, hopefully. And, maybe we can come back together and have another chat. I think that could be quite interesting. I'm looking forward to Claude getting some stuff stuck together, though, to be honest, and seeing what those guys look like in real life. If you know what I mean?
Yep. I might have to have a trip over to Studio B with close-up cameras and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, keep an eye on the feed, the social medias. follow us on Facebook and all the other bits and pieces. We can upload what we're doing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll be sticking it all together. Once we know the profiles, we can have a chat about the profiles and that kind of thing. So that'll be coming very soon.
So take care, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.